'Twas the day after Christmas, and all through the land, Saints fans are stirring and screaming, "Strike up the band!" There is more hope than there has been in a long, long while. That's because Tyler Shough is the best rookie quarterback by a black and gold mile. But in Nashville, about their guy, many think the same is true. For when Cam Ward takes the field, one can hear nary a boo. This poem is lame, but it puts me in a good mood. You know what that means, y'all. It's time to start Dattitude.
If you're looking for the latest scoop and in-depth interviews on the Saints, the NFL, the Pelicans, LSU, along with the best bets of the week, then lucky you. Along with high-powered, in-the-know guests who cover our teams, Jim Derry brings plenty of Dattitude. And he'll always tell you the way it is, or at least the way he thinks it is.
Where you at, Dattitude family? Forget Tyler Shough versus Cam Ward and LSU versus Houston. The big question this morning is, have y'all found anything that you can do with that big lump of coal you got for Christmas yesterday? I know what it is. Y'all all got coal. Come on now. This Dattitude family, we celebrate with coal. Big, giant lumps of coal. But we have something better for you. Only by a little bit. What is it? You know what it is. Of course, it's Dattitude, episode number 455, presented by Evangeline Securities for a Friday, December the 26th, 2025, our penultimate show of the year. That's right, boys and girls. Second to last show of the calendar year. We're about to change our calendars over. We're about to get rid of the lights on top of the marquee here. We're going to jump into 2026. What is 2026? What is it going to hold for us? Do we think, I mean, y'all are so fired up about the future for LSU and the Saints and even Tulane and the Pelicans just ended a long winning streak. I mean, everything's bright, right? Maybe it is. Maybe it is going to be a bright 2026. We're going to get to it all very shortly because I am your host, Jim Derry, 35 years in the New Orleans sports media scene. I thank you for being a part of the Dattitude family. What is special about today's show and every show here on Dat? You know what it is. By the way, we're normally live Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 11 a.m. Central Time. We took Wednesday off for Christmas Eve. I hope y'all were okay with that. Next Wednesday will be a recorded show, but you're going to love it. It's going to be the Daddies. That's right, the Daddies, the best of 2025, our best moments. I have started putting them together, and I will be done by Wednesday morning. It will be live on your YouTube and Facebook feeds. I'm not going to run that one on Twitter. You have to find it. If you're watching on Twitter, come find us preferably on YouTube. I will probably run it on Facebook as well. Maybe I'll just run it on YouTube first, and then we'll run it Facebook. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. By the way, it's one of my Christmas presents, some Dat merch. The wifey loaded me up with Dat merch. I got all kinds of stuff. I'm going to have to show y'all later. I did not bring it all because I was running late this morning, but we got all kinds of good stuff. Got a shirt. I didn't wear it this morning because it's short sleeve, and I wanted to wear a sweatshirt out here in the dungeon. It is what it is. It's a little chilly out in the dungeon this morning. Got a coffee mug. Got some Dattitude pens. We are rolling. We are ready to go. Anyway, you can talk to me. You type in your comment, whether you're watching on YouTube or Facebook or X, and we will talk back to you. We'll show it here on the show, and we will type back. If you want to spread Christmas cheer, so be it. But you know what the best way to do it is? By subscribing to Dat on YouTube, hitting the like, hitting the thumbs up, whatever it is, and click the little bell. You'll always know when we're going in the air live. You can find me on X at Jim Derry Jr., via email, jim@jimderry.com. Also, if you want to be a sponsor by the show, we're going to really start. I got to get rolling with the sponsorships. We got one that I know that's coming on in January. We got another potential sponsorship that I think's coming on in January, and I got to get out there cracking. I got to go talking to some people. But if you're interested or you know someone who might be interested in sponsoring the show, plenty of room to do so here, along as you see with Evangeline and Joe DeStefano. More on them coming up in a second. Yeah. So that's what's going on here on Dat. What is on today's show? You know what it is. It is Friday, so that means the Pick'em crew is here with our best bets of Week 17. Gabe is on fire. He can't be stopped. UBN had a rough week, but he's still pretty hot in me. Stinking up the joint. That's right. You remember that? What was I like? I don't know, 60-4 against the spread. Okay, I exaggerate a little bit, but I was doing pretty well. Not so much the past few weeks. I wasn't terrible last week. I don't have the blue bar, which means you were the worst of the week. No, I got the black and gold bar, which means I was second in the week. But overall, we're still pretty good against the spread. That's coming up. Zach is coming up in about, scheduled to come on in about 12 minutes, although I never got a confirmation. I'm just assuming he's coming. Send him the link. So we think he's coming. About 12. We're going to talk about, obviously, Saints, and we're going to lead off with LSU and the Texas Bowl. Not necessarily talking about the Texas Bowl per se, although we will. We will give you our predictions on LSU, Houston. We will give you our Saints predictions for Saints Titans. Some interesting picks this morning. And of course, again, Pick'em crew coming on with our best bets of the week. Netflix had to be licking their chops back in, I don't know, August, right? When the schedule came out. Dallas, Washington. I mean, come on, man. Dallas, Washington, Chiefs. Well, that Chiefs Broncos, that was on Amazon Prime. God, the middle game was so bad, I almost forgot what it was. But, oh, yeah. The Detroit Lions, they're done. 6 turnovers versus the Vikings. I think the Vikings had, how about this for a stat? The Vikings had, how many passing yards do you think? If you didn't watch the game, some of you didn't. Y'all had more important things to do. If you didn't watch, how many passing yards do you think that the Vikings, Gabe, I don't know if there's a way to look this up or not. If there is, look it up. Let me know. How many passing yards do you think the Vikings, what is the lowest number of passing yards a team has won with? I don't know, even over the last 10, 15, was it the Vikings yesterday? They won with 3 passing yards. 3 passing yards. They were like shades of 1920. They won because the Lions turned it over 6 times. If the Lions had only turned it over 3 times, they would have steamrolled the Vikings. Goff was terrible yesterday. The Lions were terrible yesterday. Dan Campbell was terrible yesterday. Y'all believe me yet about Dan? All the people that laughed at me, I'm not getting those comments anymore. Nobody's telling me anymore. Oh, I can't believe you think Dan Campbell's a crappy coach. He's a terrible coach. He might fire up his crew. He's definitely changed the way people think in Detroit. That's great. But on the field, he's a horrendous football coach, and he continues to prove it over and over and over again. Is he fun? Absolutely. I enjoy watching Detroit as much as anybody, even when they turn it over 6 times. They might have collectively. I mean, think about it. Go through the league and tell me what you think. I truly believe collectively the Detroit Lions might, and I stress might, them or Philadelphia, both teams with bad coaches. Collectively, the Lions might have the most talent on a football field in the NFL. I mean, there are other teams that potentially could be. I mean, it's close, but they're up there. They're absolutely in the top 5. But yet they continue to screw it up over and over again. Gabe says they're banged up on defense. Yeah. Whoop-de-doo. It wasn't their defense that lost the game for them yesterday. 3 passing yards. Broncos, Gabe says, had the 1983 Seahawks won a game with 2, and the Broncos had minus 53 pre-merger. So that means in the AFL. Seahawks most or fewest in a win, I guess you mean. Post-merger. 1983 Seahawks. 2 passing yards. Vikings won with 3 yesterday. Again, say what you will. I don't hear the people screaming at me. They're not screaming at me the last few weeks. Man, they got so pissed off at me when I've said this for, I don't know, over 2 years. Last year, boy, they were getting on me, man. Getting on me, telling me, you're just wrong about Dan Campbell. And then what did? They choked in the playoffs. Choked in the playoff. Year before that, they should have won an NFC championship game. But because of Dan Campbell's obnoxious stupidity and stubbornness to realize that I will say this, he's consistent. Now, he didn't cause 6 turnovers yesterday, so I'm not necessarily blaming yesterday on him. Not a good coach. They're never going to win anything big with Dan Campbell as their coach. Just saying. By the way, the Broncos, did they look like a number 1 seed yesterday, talking about yesterday football? No. They almost let some dude I never heard. Speaking about no passing yards, I mean, I know Kansas City had more passing yards than Minnesota, but that dude, I don't even know how to, I know his name starts with an O. That's all I remember for the Chiefs. I don't care. Doesn't matter. You don't have to tell me what it is. I mean, the Chiefs are not good without Patrick Mahomes. Let's just say that. The defense is good, not great. Maybe even a little bit better than good. But man, and the Broncos needed to get lucky there. Well, not lucky, I guess. I guess it wasn't lucky. But they needed the last couple minutes to win that football game. And that team shouldn't. That was an easy bet, by the way. That was an easy bet. I won the first game, I won the last game, and the middle game, I kind of did a weird parlay, and I only bet like $10 just to see it, whatever. And it included the Lions money line in it. I didn't even care if I won. So anyway, you know what? Normally I would go straight to comments right now, but before we get to the comments, because I want to spend a little time with them this morning, let's get to the rest of the show. We start it right now. Before we get to that rest of the show, let me tell you about our friends at Evangeline Securities. Of course, they're a company that can help you decide if it's the right time to sell your family-run or privately held business. More importantly, they can help you figure out what that business is worth. If that's you, if it's someone you know, give them a Christmas present. Have them reach out to Evangeline's founding partner, Nick Braden. He will start by scheduling a complimentary valuation from his office, either in Porter Street or in Lafayette. From there, you will be well-informed to begin to make the decision on if you want to proceed. What happens after that? Well, you know what happens. Some of you might not know. We'll fill you in more later in the show. In the meantime, you can check them out at www.evangelinesecurities.com. Got one more friend to tell you about, and then it's on to the show, boys and girls. If you own a small business of fewer than 20 employees, you know how tough it is to get the best rates on health insurance. That's why you want to call Joe DiStefano Insurance. Joe and I have known each other for almost 40 years. I can tell you that he's someone that I trust. Look, health insurance shouldn't be one size fits all. And with Joe DiStefano, you get access to PPO networks and flexible plans designed to fit you, not just a cookie cutter mold. Joe's licensed, he's local, but he can help you no matter where you live and operate. From preventative care to peace of mind, we'll tailor a plan that works for your life today and tomorrow. Call Joe DiStefano at 504-234-2132 to protect what matters most. I am so thankful to my friends, our sponsors, Evangeline and Joe DiStefano Insurance, this holiday season, and I'm so thankful for you. That's why we're going to spend some time with you this morning, of course, as we do each show here in Dattitude. We'll be spreading comments out throughout the rest of the show, but we'd like to have a nice chunk of time here before we get to our guest and just talk to you for a few minutes. And you know what happens on Monday, by the way. Programming note, next week, as we told you, Monday's Mono-y Monday. It's just me. It's just you. Gabe will come on as well. And then Wednesday, we do not have a guest. It is a recorded show on New Year's Eve. The Daddies, the first annual Daddies. And then next Friday, we'll be back here on January the 2nd, talking about the final Saints game of the year. First comment is, gotta love my friend Rock. Rock, thank you so much for your super sticker this morning, $5. The donation to the Dattitude podcast. We appreciate it so much. We appreciate all of y'all so much. Rock says, hope y'all had a great Christmas. On to the new year. Good morning. Good morning, my friend. Thank you again so much. Gary's here. Good morning. All wishing a safe and happy holiday season. Absolutely we are. Brian Cavett. Good morning. Hope my Christmas was excellent. It was wonderful. Was surrounded by family, surrounded by lots of football. Absolutely. If it was 60 outside, the weather would have been much better. That's for certain. It was a little warm. I didn't spend a lot of time. The only time I really went outside yesterday, I'll say this, was to bring the trash out. And we had a lot of that. So I did bring the trash out quite a bit. UBN's here. The weather is perfect. Don't listen to Ryan. The weather's not perfect, and it's about to get cold. We're going to have a cold We might have had a warm New Year. Well, not might have. We did. We had a warm New Year Christmas. But we ain't going to have a warm New Year's. It's going to be cold next week, and I'm looking forward to it. Get that fog off the causeway, by the way. Mark Gapsky, good morning. Who dat? Merry Christmas. A little late, but, you know. Randall's here. Good morning. Happy holidays to you. JC's here. Another 65-degree day in Denver. And the Broncos, they most certainly squeezed out a dub, but squeezed out is the right way to put it because they didn't look real good. Kyle Sherman, good morning. Happy holidays. Happy day after Dattitude. Hope everybody had a great one. Love the inspired poetry. Thank you. I worked on that for days. No, I didn't. I get it. We're just having a little fun this morning. If you missed my poem to start the show, you can go back and watch it later. Earl's Picks. Cam actually not playing horrible. His team is the biggest issue when Zach comes on in a little bit. I'm going to do you a comparison between significant rookie quarterback stats. Where does Tyler Shough fit in? Where does Cam Ward fit in? Are these the two best rookies of this NFL draft class? Is Jackson Dart better somewhere in the middle or worse? What about Shedeur Sanders? What about Dylan Gabriel? Those are the quarterbacks we're going to talk about this morning. A little bit. We're going to talk mostly about Cam Ward and Tyler Shough, of course. Let's see. Boy, Randall's already fired up about LSU baseball. We got a little ways to go before we get there. I don't even have a Pelican slide today. I'm probably not going to talk about LSU baseball. But there you go. We mentioned LSU baseball, and yes, Jay Johnson will be rolling very soon. Lance, good morning. Who dat, baby? Charles Mangus is here. Good morning. Hope we had a wonderful Christmas. We did. Well, I'm speaking for Gabe. Did you have a great Christmas, Gabe? He says thumbs up. His wife and he both agree Dan Campbell is a stupid idiot. That's harsh. Although I probably called him, I don't know that I've ever put those two words together since I was like 14. But I probably called him stupid, and I probably called him an idiot. So stupid. You know what? I don't think I've ever called him stupid. Now, I've called his play calling stupid. But I don't think, can you be a dumb dude and be a head coach in the NFL? I don't know. I'm trying to think of someone. Think of all the terrible coaches in the NFL. I don't know. I would call any of them dumb. I don't think you can be dumb and be a coach in the. Now, you can make some idiotic moves. You can make some dumb moves. I don't know if you could call the person. See what I'm not. Yeah, I get what you're saying, Chuck. I don't know. Maybe I'm trying to get. Are we getting too deep here on a Friday morning? I don't know. I think you got to be a pretty smart dude to be a head coach in the NFL. But I don't know. Maybe I'll go through after the show's over and I'll try to. Urban Meyer. Lance, tip of the cup to you, my friend. That's a good one. Very possible. Tom, happy Friday and happy New Year. Who that's everybody. What else we got going? That was a good one. You got me over there. Mark Satanovich, Pels have won 5 of 6 games. Well, they won 5 and then they lost 1. But you are correct. They have won 5 of 6. They play in New Orleans again tonight. Zion coming off the bench is working. He's playing like an all-star again. I meant to do a cutout screenshot, but I gave myself a Christmas present. Hey, you'll like this, Mark. I put $5 that I could have given to charity, but no, I didn't give it to charity. I took $5, and this is going to make Rocky really upset that he donated $5 to the Dattitude podcast when I tell you this. I took $5 and I put it on the Pels to win the NBA championship. It pays $10,000. I could have given it. No. We're gonna donate it all to the we're gonna donate it all to the power. If it hits, I'm gonna spread some love and cheer. I'll give Gabe a bonus, which is more than I'm giving him this year. Hakeem, big dog, what's going on? Happy holidays to you, my friend. Who that? Daddy is here. Good morning. How are we? How you been? Glad to see you this morning. This Friday morning. Is that who's working today, by the way? Obviously we are. But I don't know. Brian says I've been all look, sometimes I get one right. I'm just saying. It's just not that good. Detters is here. Good morning, Who Dat family. Who Dat from the frozen tundra of Massachusetts. My sister in Springfield is real cold. She ain't happy about it either. She sent me some snow pictures, and they're supposed to get slammed today, so I'm sure I'll hear from her later on. Because we like to send each other, I'll send her screenshots of weather in New Orleans, in the New Orleans area when it's winter, but she likes to send them back later on, like in May, when it's 90 degrees here, and it's like 65 in the day up there. But yeah, she's not having real fun today. That is absolutely true. Trish Reinhardt, Merry Christmas to you and yours. Same to you, Trish. Tell everyone in your house, including that brother of yours, tell him I said hello. Let's see what else we got here this morning. Rockies is definitely a bad coach. Who Dat Daddy says Dan has been a bad coach for years. I think he'd be great as an assistant. He's a guy that I think he's a guy you absolutely would want on your staff as an assistant. I want somebody who my players, I mean, there's no question. Players would run through a brick wall for that dude. No question. But sometimes that's just not good enough. You know, it just is what it is. Hold on real quick as I text Mr. Ewing. Make sure he's coming on again. I never got confirmation from him this morning, so I always worry about that. Usually I just don't even worry about that. There you go, Trish. It's Olaticum. I knew it started with an O. The Chiefs quarterback. Where did he come from? Heaven. That's where Olaticum came from. Heaven. That's how good he is. Ovide Kibido is here. Good morning. Hope we had a good Christmas. We did. Looking forward to the new year with my New Orleans Saints. Who Dat baby? Go Saints, man. It's going to be if the Saints can win this one and win 4 in a row. And I got to go back. I got to go back 4 in a row. Last time, Gabe, tell me, I forgot. Can you go look? I think it was 2020 the last time they won 4 in a row. So I don't think they've won 4 in a row since then. Oh, my goodness. UBN from the other room. He's in the green. His chair's in the green room. UBN with the $50 donation. Man, dude, thank you. Seriously. Thanks to the Minnesota money line. Okay. Merry Christmas to everybody. Thank you so much, UBN. He'll be on in a little bit with the Pick'em crew. I can't say thanks enough for that. That's truly appreciated. By the way, I'm going to be hanging out with UBN on Sunday. We're going to watch, I think we're going to get together for the night game with a good friend of ours who is a Bears fan. Y'all know UBN is a 49ers fan, and I'm just going to be in the middle and laugh at them both and watch the game with them. 2020 is the last time the Saints won 4 in a row. So they're going to win 4 in a row for the first time in 5 years. Wow. So anyway, I'm going to enjoy it with UBN. He says, talking about the Vikings, they gave talking about the Lions. They gave up 3 passing yards, but it's the defense. Keep making excuses for good old boy Dan. He will continue to suck. Put him with Coach O. He sent me a meme this morning of Coach O in a Lions sweatshirt as a coordinator. Wouldn't that be that'd be a lot of fun. That'd be a lot of fun. Earl says he thinks Shough is the best rookie quarterback. Look, you can make an argument for it. I don't know what I think right now, to be honest. When Zach comes on, assuming he comes on, again, I still haven't heard from him. I'm assuming he's coming on. I'm assuming he's okay. If he doesn't come on, we'll have to deal without him, won't we? Adam, good morning. I hope we all had a great Christmas. We did. Hope the same for you and yours. Thank you so much. Ryan Ashe, Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. Shough is numero uno. With a healthy lead on second. I definitely think you could say that. You could I mean, if you look at his numbers, and again, I think I'm getting to it, Zach. If Zach doesn't come on in the next 5 minutes, we're going to get to it anyway. Shough has the best completion percentage, and he has the most yards per game, but not by a lot. Okay? Not by a whole lot. He's really close with Ward on touchdown interception ratio. Ward's a tinge better. Now, Ward's played in 15 games. The only one who's played in more games besides Ward than Shough is Jackson Dart, who's played in 10 games. And he only has, 43 yards more than Shough. So I think you say that Shough is better than Jackson Dart. So I think it's Shough or it's Cam Ward. Although if you look at the odds, and that was something I was going to bring up with Zach as well. If you look at the odds, Shuck's in there for running for Rookie of the Year. Gabe, can you give me the top 3 or 4 Rookie of the Year odds? I think Travion Henderson is number 1 by a fairly large margin. I think he's the last I looked, and I haven't looked in about a week. The last I looked, Travion Henderson was an overwhelming favorite. It's like minus 285. But Shough may have closed the gap on him because, again, I haven't looked. So, but I think Shough was the top quarterback for Rookie of the Year candidate. Earl says it's 50 degrees in Chicago. Not bad at all. I got a feeling that's not going to last long. Let's see. Mark also says that the pundits are saying that the NFL draft was redone today. Tyler Shough would be. I haven't seen that. I don't know that that's the case. I mean, maybe it would be. I don't know. Gabe said, "Oh wow, it's now Teteroa McMillan." So maybe it's been longer than I haven't looked in longer than that because Travion got hurt last week. So I get. Oh, was it last week or 2 weeks ago? He got hurt last week. This was. So at DraftKings, Teteroa McMillan is now minus 310. That's a big jump. Shough is plus 400. And honestly, for someone that's only played 9 games, really 8.5 games, it's pretty interesting. Emeka Egbuka is plus 700, and now Travion is plus 2,000. So Tet is the overwhelming favorite. Again, minus 310. That means, for those of you who don't bet a lot, you'd have to put down $310 to win 100. If you wanted to bet on Shough and you thought he was going to win Rookie of the Year, if you bet $100 and it was the Rookie of the Year, you would win 400. I don't know. Ryan says Detroit losing both their coordinators seem to be quite meaningful. Well, maybe it is. I mean, I can't argue with it that it isn't right now, but I don't think that's it though. I mean, I certainly think that played a role in it for sure. Zach says he'll be here in 2 minutes, by the way. I definitely think that played a role in where Detroit is and what's happened with them. But I don't think it's just that. I think that had Ben Johnson stayed, look, and Aaron Glenn had stayed, I think that I still think they would have taken a step back. I really do. I think they would I think they way overachieved last year. Again, maybe they didn't. Maybe you're right. Because again, there's no question that they have at least in the top 5 in total talent. They've had injuries, but who hasn't? Who dat chasing 09? And I think who dat chasing Breeze? McMillan had an average game against the Seahawks, and Shough had a great game against the Titans. Then he will win Rookie of the Year. You mean coming up? It could change things. But see, the thing with the receivers is I don't think people notice that much if a receiver has one bad game or one good game. Whereas if a quarterback has a bad game, that can knock them down a little bit because obviously they're more noticeable. Maybe, though. I'm not saying you're wrong. It's a possibility. I'm certainly not counting them out of the running. And again, Zach coming on in a few minutes, I think he got Shough at something silly like plus 6,000 or something like that. I know who he's rooting for. Earl says that Ben Johnson was a big loss for him. Emily, good morning. Happy holidays. I guess it's not Christmas anymore. I can't say Merry Christmas. Randall says Todd Bowles is a defensive coach, and that Tampa defense is god awful, especially against the pass. Tampa's had their issues. Mark, did Anselmo come over for Christmas? Well, there were lots of Anselmos over. If you're asking for the one that's famous, we'll see him tomorrow. Christmas at Phil's tomorrow afternoon. That's what I'll be doing on Saturday. And Hakeem says Travion Henderson might be the Rookie of the Year, even though the odds look, again, he's not going to win it, but his injury kind of did that in. But if you're asking me, probably the most impactful rookies, I mean, you could really make an argument for a couple of these people. I mean, you really could. Again, I want to start with LSU, but I'm going to bring him in. I know who Zach Ewing is rooting for Rookie of the Year. And it's not Travion Henderson, and it's not Teteroa McMillan.
I don't root, but my pocketbook does. So, yeah, I'm all for Tyler Shough continuing this role, and I think he's got a chance, Jim. I
definitely think he's got a chance.
We just finished recording our own Saints Insider, so I haven't been hearing the discussion, but I think if he wins these last 2 weeks and plays well, like let's say, I don't know, 3 or 4 touchdown passes, either 0 or 1 interceptions, 400 to 450 yards between the two games, and they win. He probably just wins it. The only exception to that would be if Tet McMillan goes off for 100 yards on Sunday Night Football to decide the division, game winning. Like that has an impact on this too. But I do think it's starting to look like a 2-horse race.
Yeah, I definitely think you're right. I don't think it's Ibuka anymore. I think he's pretty much out. Musette, hello there. One of our regulars here on Dat. We thank you so much for supporting us. Musette, Merry Christmas to us. We hope we had a wonderful holiday, and Gabe gave us the thumbs up. I did have a great Christmas. It was spent mostly on my couch watching football. How about yours, Zach?
It was good. It was I started to feel better. I know you probably heard my voice on last week's pod. I spent the weekend in Mississippi sick. I did not feel well for the Saints game Sunday either, but by like Tuesday, I started to feel a lot better. And so that was good to just feel okay on Christmas. And we just had a quiet Christmas at home, which we haven't had in a couple of years. So got to watch the kids open gifts, snuck in a little hour-and-a-half nap in the afternoon, which was awesome. And just, had a good quiet Christmas.
Well, it's awesome. And that's what Christmas is supposed to be. Ours was quiet early, and then it exploded and was like chaos ran free in my house for probably 4 to 5 hours. And it went from being like super crazy loud, stupid to super quiet again. So, music says a quiet Christmas is perfect. Yeah. I mean, my friend Shane's here. Merry Christmas. Future looks brighter between the Saints and Pels. We're going to talk about the Saints in just a minute. I actually want to start with LSU this morning because I'm not going to spend a ton of time talking about LSU, but there's no question, Zach, as we get into the Texas Bowl tomorrow night at 8:15, that a plethora of changes begin for LSU as soon as that game is over and Lane Kiffin takes over. We will see one more game of Frank Wilson coaching the team before he leaves and goes to Ole Miss. And I want you to explain to me before we get in, I don't want to give away our picks, but I want you to tell me why LSU is even going to care about tomorrow night.
I just think the individual players will care. If you're out there and you're playing football, you're going to play hard. Are you just totally outmatched in this game? I guess I don't think that's the case. I mean, Houston's a good team, but they're not uber talented or anything. I know that a lot of times at the bowl games, you judge motivation and everything like that. I think Frank Wilson wants to win. I think he's kind of a fire him up guy. He'd like to walk out of Baton Rouge kind of with this is what you're missing as he goes to Ole Miss. I just think they'll play hard. I mean, I don't, maybe that's not the case. And certainly there's going to be some big time depth issues where if there are injuries for LSU, you're throwing out guys who have never been on the field before in college football. And that could certainly make this game turn ugly. But I think as long as it's what we think it's going to be, you're going to see an honest effort from the guys who are out there.
Jimmy Rosen, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Same to you, my friend. Randall says he couldn't care less about this bowl game. I mean, I know there's a lot of people that think that, but I think actually
motivation is at an all-time low. I do think that's true.
Well, and I think that they'll care more because the future looks brighter because there's a coach now. But I mean, I think LSU is now entered with the 12-team playoff. If they're not in a playoff, I can't imagine this fan base is going to get excited about any bowl game. It's not just the Texas Bowl. So yeah, this is even lesser bowl than that. But I agree with you. I don't think you're going to go out there. Players don't go out there and just lollygag around like they can't wait for it to be over and they run to the locker room, take their uniforms off. No, they're going to go out there and play.
if I'm a high level football player, which all these guys are, and you're telling me that they're keeping score, I'm playing hard, man. Like maybe that's not the case for all of them, but I think they'll play hard. I think you're right though. I think that's the case for a lot of top tier teams. If it's not playoff, it's kind of a nothing burger. If they were in Texas position where maybe they had an argument to get in the playoff and they were playing Michigan or some name team, Michigan in particular, because LSU's never played Michigan, then maybe there would be some more motivation from the fan base, and the players would feel that. But I don't think that means the players quit. There's going to be a decent LSU fan presence in the stands just because it's close enough for a lot of people to drive, and there's a big LSU fan base in Houston, and so I don't know. I mean, I hear a lot of people saying, "Well, who cares?" and the team's not going to play. I think they'll play. Whether they win or not is a different question, but I think they'll play.
And look, I'm just not a fan of let's just care about our team when it really matters. I mean, if it doesn't really matter, then I don't care. I mean, that's not. And look, be whatever kind of fan you want to be, but to me, that's just not the way fandom is supposed to be. If you don't watch, you got more important things to do tomorrow night. I get it. I'm not saying to watch, and I know some people say they're going to be watching the Pels game, not the LSU game, or they might be watching something else or going to family's house or whatever. You do you. But if you care about your team, then you should watch them no matter who they're playing. I mean, if the Saints were 2-14 and they never went to Shough, let's just say, and it was just playing out the string, you'd still watch them. I mean, it is what it is. So I just think, you should root for your team. You should follow your team no matter who they're playing. That's just my thing. I get it, though. So.
No, in the game time is kind of an issue. Like, this thing's going to be
over. It is definitely an issue.
So I do understand it's holiday weekend. People have plans. Like, I'm not going to sit here and tell anybody they have to go watch LSU in the Texas Bowl. But there's I think there's reasons to watch. There's probably young guys who are auditioning for a spot on the team next year, a starting spot in the 2 deep or whatever it is. And I guarantee you Lane Kiffin's watching. He wants to see what he's got at various positions. So I think there will be some interesting things to pay attention to.
I mean, what is the key matchup, do you think, in this game?
Michael Van Buren against that Houston defense, which has been pretty good.
It has been pretty good.
The Big 12 level. And I also think that's probably the number one thing Lane Kiffin's watching. Not that I think Michael Van Buren will be the starting quarterback next year, but if you're paying attention, LSU needs 2 quarterbacks. And if Michael Van Buren leaves, they might need 3. And so we've got to figure out, is Michael Van Buren putting out an audition for some other team where he could go to a team in another conference and be the starter, or is he auditioning to be LSU's top backup, or what does Lane Kiffin think about him? Like, I think that as meaningless as this game may seem big picture, there are certain guys, and Michael Van Buren's at the top of the list, where it does mean something to them.
Yeah. Breaking news this morning. It's actually pretty big news. Nicole Auerbach of NBC Sports reporting that Utah Utes coach Kyle Whittingham is expected to be announced as Michigan's coach, possibly as soon as this afternoon. Breaking news here in the Dattitude podcast. Interesting. So that's a pretty good. That's a pretty good hire for them, considering where they were and the timing of this whole thing. That's really good, actually. Oh, former Utah coach.
It kind of makes you wonder too, doesn't it, Jim? That Kyle Whittingham stepped down. This guy had been maybe the longest tenured coach in Power 5 football. I think he was. He had been at Utah for 20 years.
I was going to say it's well over a decade. I didn't know exactly how long ago. It was well over a decade. Gabe says Hickory is a great hire.
Yeah, he steps down from this job, which is a good job. Utah had another good, not great year, but good year. It's a good job. And he steps down, but immediately says, I'm not done coaching. I'm open to other opportunities. Now, I'm going to do my best Brian Windhorst. Now, why does that happen? It's either something happened with the Utah administration where Whittingham was like, this is not going to work, and I need to get out ahead of the mob. Or maybe he knew something about Michigan before the rest of us did and thought, man, if that job's going to be open, that's pretty perfect for the style of football I play. It's a chance for me to finish my career in a place where I can win a national championship. I just wonder what the situation was. He seemed like
he is 66 years old. So yeah, he's still got time to coach another few years. So anyway, breaking news here on the Dattitude podcast. Who dat chasing number 9 says, Lane Kiffin is the brains behind his offense. He isn't just a motivator or a culture builder. So LSU will be moving towards that. UBN wants to know, is Lane Kiffin the Dan Campbell of college football? It's better than
no,
that,
because I
man.
think he's better at X's and O's than Dan Campbell is.
Yeah, I definitely think he's. Yeah.
I mean, I think that's the.
Maybe Dan Campbell gets more out of his players than Lane Kiffin will. Maybe, but
I think
as
Ed
far
Orgeron
as
is the Dan Campbell of college football.
Yeah,
players.
That's why we were laughing earlier. We had memes of we were talking about memes of maybe the next defensive coordinator for the Lions could be Coach O. That would be hilarious. Mark Gapsky, this is an LSU, but it's worth bringing up. Does Tulane have a quarterback for next year? The answer right now is not really. Do they? Not one that they want to go into the season with. I don't think they have the leftovers that they had got, but they might. I don't know the answer. They enter the portal. I don't even know.
I mean, it seems like they've had so many bodies come through there the last few years before settling on somebody that's probably going to be the case again. Is Retzloff in a situation where he could appeal for an extra year?
I don't think so. No, I think he's done.
Situation?
Yeah, I think he's done.
Yeah.
I think he's done. All right. We're going to get to our predictions for the Texas Bowl. I'm sure you couldn't wait for this. If you have your predictions, now's the time to turn them in because we're going to get the Saints here. We got about 15 more minutes or so with Zach before we move on. But so I want to spend the rest of it with Saints. We're going to start off with Zach's prediction. LSU, Houston. He put a lot of thought into this. He cares so much about this pick. I'm sure he's going to be betting tons of money on it. What you got?
No, I'm not betting anything on this, but I maybe I'm in an echo chamber. Everybody that I seem to talk to or listen about is it's the same sort of question you had. It's like, well, why is LSU going to care? They're not going to play. They're just going to lose. And they're thinking of that Texas Bowl against Kansas State from 3 years ago where LSU really didn't have anybody. And I don't think this is the same situation. And I think whenever you have everybody sort of group thinking in the same way that LSU can't possibly play hard or care about this game, and then combine that with the fact that the betting line is just kind of stuck right where it's at.
It's actually moved towards LSU a little bit.
Yeah. I think LSU is probably going to come out and play hard. And talent-wise, like, again, I know Houston had a good season. I'm not saying that they have no talent, but talent-wise, even the guys who are left out there for LSU are going to be able to compete and in many cases beat these Houston Cougars one-on-one. So I think LSU wins a close game. I think their defense plays well, and I've got the Tigers.
Okay. We had a couple comments. Somebody, and I want to go back to this from Brian. Look, Houston ain't scoring 40 on LSU. Look, even if they don't care, Houston's not hanging at 40. I think this is going to be a lower scoring game.
They would need pick sixes to score 40.
I think that would be super crazy if that happened. This was for a couple of weeks. I was sure this was going to be a best bet, and the fact that the line hasn't moved, and in fact it's moved ever so slightly towards LSU, has kept me off of. I'm not going to make this a best bet for one of my picks this week. However, I can't pick LSU here. I just don't think they're going to be able to generate any offense. I've got Houston winning 19-14. I think this is going to be an ugly snooze fest. And, I joke about fans trying to give a damn about this game. I got a feeling this is going to be one of those games that people are going to be like, there's got to be something better to watch than this, especially people who don't give a darn about the Texas Bowl, because this is just not going to be a fun game to watch, in my opinion. Tedros thinks LSU wins 20-17. What else we got going on? Josh Preston says giving Houston 40 is just disrespectful. I mean, I kind of disagree. I mean, I kind of agree, not disagree. I just don't think that's a realistic possibility. Nola, man, good morning. Thank you so much. Look, I just don't think 33, that would obviously be the under. I just think snooze fest is on the horizon here.
That is definitely within the realm of possibility. The only thing I think it will be a relatively close game. So is it a snooze fest if things come down to the wire? Like it might, if you're still up at 11:30 when this thing's finishing up, it might be worth being in for.
Rocky says 17-10 LSU. Let me ask you a question. What will happen more tomorrow night? Here's my last question about this game. Will there be more points scored in this game than Lane Kiffin sightings on air?
Oh, man. Yes. Because I think you're looking at least 30 points, and that seems like too much even for an aggressive show Lane Kiffin 30 times. So
I only semi-kidding. I mean, that is really probably all they're going to talk about tomorrow. It's going to be sick. All right, let's move on.
More to that point, Jim, what I want to see is Lane Kiffin going to get a suite at the Superdome for the Sugar Bowl, because that would be high theater.
Ooh. Maybe he'll wear his Georgia Bulldogs stuff.
I don't think he would come just because I feel like it would be a distraction and everything. And I think he still genuinely wants Ole Miss to do well. So I don't think he would, but it would be great theater.
I'm only 7-9, semi joking here. All right, let's move on. And I want to get to the Saints here. We got about 12 more minutes with you here this morning, because then it won't be morning anymore. Saints are 2.5-point favorites on the road at Tennessee. Man, Saints are favored on the road. What the heck is going on here? Even if it is Tennessee. But it's interesting because, if there were a redraft, and Mark Satanovich was talking about it earlier, some pundits seem to think that maybe Tyler Shough would have gone number one instead of Cam Ward. What do you think if they had a redraft today? Do you think Tyler Shough would be the number one pick of this draft?
Man, that's a tough question. Because honestly, Cam Ward, a lot of people, like film Twitter and those people and analytics Twitter are still all over Cam Ward and saying he's still got a better chance, long term to be a top quarterback. Shough's obviously showing some people some things. I still think it would be Cam. I really do. He's younger, probably a little more athletic, still showed a lot of promise. Like, I think it's Cam, but Shough definitely is a top 5 pick at this point.
Ron Hendrickson says, I have to admit, I was not expecting this from Shough. He is playing way better than I thought he would. Kellen Moore has called better plays since Shough took over as quarterback. I don't necessarily know that it's better plays, Zach. I just think he's called it differently, knowing that he would probably call it differently.
Yeah, and the impressive thing for me is that the rest of this offense is just suffering a ton of injuries. I mean, he's got no running game to work with at all. You're talking about Audric Estime and Evan Hull,
right?
Taysom Hill, and like a beat up interior offensive line trying to run the ball. And then you've also, no Rashid Shaheed, Devon Vele's hurt. Like, he won that game last week. It was the Tyler Shough show. It was a bunch of short passes. I mean, I know Chris Olave had a huge game and he was part of that. But he completed passes, I think, to 8 different receivers or something like that. A lot of short passes, used his legs a couple of times. And that's going to have to be the recipe this week, because it's none of those running backs are back. None of those receivers are back. None of the linemen are back. Like, it's going to have to be Shough and Olave.
I think I said a month ago that Alvin Kamara was never going to play another down the New Orleans Saints ever again. And I'm sticking by that. I don't think he'll be back next year. There's no reason to come back for that last game unless he just wants to play one more game for the Saints. But I don't think you're going to see Kamara back. Charles Mangus, thank you so much for the $5 donation. We very much appreciate it. Of course, one of the longtime regulars here on Dat, the Dat family. Thanks you so much, Charles. Thank you. It's not just Tyler Shough, though, Zach. It's also, look at that defense, that ranking. I went back and looked like a month and a half ago. The passing defensive rank for the Saints on whatever the first game of November, but that's when the Saints got crushed by the Rams. But when Tyler Shough was taken over, I went back and looked because I really went to look to see what the passing offensive rank was, and it hasn't changed a ton. They were 23rd in the NFL in passing offense when Tyler Shough took over, but they were 14th in passing defense when Tyler Shough took over. Now, look, I get it. The back half of the schedule has been much easier. We told you it was going to be that way a long time ago. But the way this defense is played, we're going to get back to the quarterbacks in a minute because I got some rookie comparisons to make. But I got to give this defense a shout out, because if this defense plays the way they played the last 6 games or so, if they can carry that into next year, man, I think this is like seriously a good, not just an average defense or whatever. I think this is a good defense.
Yeah, you got to give Brandon Staley a ton of credit because
Absolutely,
they don't have
you do.
superstars on this defense. Like Chase Young, I guess, is the closest thing you have to a star, but I don't think he fits that bill. Staley's just made it work. The guys are playing hard. They play well together. We'll see what the absence of Brian Brzee does this week. It looks like he'll be out with injury. But honestly, like the challenge is certainly going to be greater than it was against the Jets. And I think it's even maybe going to be greater than it was going back the 3 games before that against Tampa Bay and Carolina and Miami, because this Tennessee offense is playing well. They scored, like, I know Kansas City is a shell of what it has been, but that Kansas City defense, as they showed last night against the Broncos, like the Kansas City defense is still pretty good. Titans put up 26 points then, put up 24 points on the Niners the week before that, put up 31 on the Browns, who have a good defense, especially in Cleveland. The week before that, they put up 24 against the Seahawks a few weeks back. Like this Titans offense behind Cam Ward is starting to round into form. I think over the past 4 games or 3 games, he's got like 6 touchdown passes, 1 interception. This will be a challenge for the Saints, D. I believe that.
Yeah, and the Saints now, for the first time in, I think it was 33 years, maybe something long. I think it's 33 years. The first time in 33 years that the Saints have held an opponent to fewer than 200 passing yards in 6 consecutive games. They will not break the record because the record is 9. Well, I guess theoretically you could carry it over into next year, but still quite an accomplishment for a defense that people weren't even talking a whole lot about before the season. Chase Young, to me, I got to give him credit. Talking about giving credit before we get back to the quarterbacks. Chase Young, a healthy Chase Young, has 100% made a huge difference for this defensive front.
No, he has. He's always had the pressures, and this year, two things are changing. One is that some more of his pressures are turning into sacks, something he always struggled with. But the other thing is that it's keeping guys in the pocket and making them scramble around and creating sacks for everybody else. And Cam Jordan has been the beneficiary of that. Carl Granderson, Brian Brzee have been the beneficiaries of that. So just super impressive stuff from Young, and like, dare I say that $51 million contract might be a bargain by the time it's all said and done. If he keeps playing like this, he stays on the field, it will be.
It certainly could be. I mean, and look, you're talking about, I know some people think the Saints should, and again, we got plenty of time to talk about the draft. You and I will talk about that plenty over the course of the next few months. But people are saying the Saints should good defense in the first round of the draft. I disagree. I mean, I think look, don't get me wrong, they absolutely need help at certain spots in defense, and certainly could use an edge rusher. But I can't wait to see what's going to happen in the offseason. Does Cam Jordan actually come back for another year? Does Demario Davis? I mean, he's about to set his own personal record for tackles. He needs 6 more tackles to break his own personal record for tackles in a season, which would break last year's record. So why would you say, let's don't bring him back? I think they're still playing it. If you think you can go to the playoffs next year, and there's no reason to think this team wouldn't have a shot in this terrible division to go to the playoffs next year, why wouldn't you keep Demario Davis and potentially Cam Jordan if you can get him on a hometown friendly deal?
I would just caution when it comes to discussions about the Saints defense overall, don't necessarily fall for their performance over this last 6 weeks and say, oh, they don't need
I don't know if
any
it's just been the last 6 weeks though.
Major help on defense. Like a little bit of it, they have played better, and I have been impressed, and all those things are true, but they have struggled against the better offenses on their schedule still.
Yeah.
And there are still a little bit of a square peg, round hole feel to some of the pieces on this defense. As far as Cam Jordan goes, I think that's a Nikki Jordan question. Is she willing to let Cam come back for another year? I think if she is, he is, put it that way. And other than that, like Demario is still playing at a high enough level to where if he's interested, I'm absolutely bringing him back. But I would caution against just sort of saying, oh, they don't need that much help. They're good to go on defense, because I don't necessarily think that's the case, which makes it even more impressive what they've done.
My prediction the day after Christmas is that I have a gut feeling. I know it doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but I have a gut feeling Cam and Demario Davis come back, and I'd be shocked if Taysom Hill and Alvin Kamara, either one of those guys comes back. I think Taysom Hill is absolutely gone, and Kamara, I think they're going to do a post June 1 cut and save some money there. But and again, these are things we can talk about later on. Go ahead.
Yeah, Taysom is definitely number one on that list as far as least likely to come back.
Yeah, I can't imagine he comes back on any scenario. All right, getting back to the quarterbacks, Mitch Bergeron. I watched Cam Ward at Incarnate Word, Washington State and Miami. This kid is good. He may be in the wrong system, but he excelled at every program he was at in college. Look, I think Cam Ward is certainly, and I got to throw a caveat out there. I've watched some of every Titans game live, but I haven't watched a ton of Titans games. But what I've seen, it looked like Cam Ward to me, and not just because they're winning and they won big last week. It looks to me like Cam Ward has certainly been better in the second half of the season, which is what you would expect from a rookie quarterback.
Oh, 100% he has. And he will challenge the Saints defense in one specific area that we haven't seen much of lately, and that is that he will extend plays, he will use his legs, he will just sort of generally stress this defense and this defensive line and secondary in ways they haven't been stressed before, or at least not recently.
Yeah. Mark, by the way, do you bring Demario Davis for 2 more years? Maybe, but yeah, I always worry when you're talking about anyone that's as old as he is, even as good as he's been. I advocate for bringing him back, but 2 years, I don't know. It depends on what the deal would be. He is 30, I believe he's 37 right now, right? So that would be his 38 and 39-year-old seasons. So I don't know. Ryan says
contract. So yeah, it's not a thing at that age.
I don't think so either. Ryan says, I feel like Kellen has grown with his play calling, at least how this current offensive group needs to be called. I know Rattler played a bit timid, but seemed like Kellen called a timid game early on. I agree with that. And I think part of the reason, obviously Kellen Moore has grown. You don't want to talk about quarterbacks growing in the second half of the season. We talked about it earlier. I think that Kellen Moore has opened up his mind, I guess, on letting his quarterback be free, but that also has partly to do with how Shough has, I guess, reacted to his time in the NFL. And he looks, I guess sometimes age, an old rookie, quote unquote, old rookie can help you, because I think his age has been a factor in him playing a little bit better. He looks experienced, even though he's really not.
Yeah. And I think Kellen Moore has grown, but I also think he just trusts Tyler Shough more. And that may not be totally fair to Spencer Rattler, because if you statistically, like, Rattler is still right there with what Shough has done. In fact, he's even a little bit better in some ways. So it's kind of funny to say that, but we heard rumblings as far back as like the Buffalo game that Kellen Moore was a little bit frustrated with Spencer Rattler as far as not getting rid of the ball when he needed to, being just a little bit off accuracy wise, not stepping up in the pocket, all the sorts of things that Shough has excelled at. So I think there's some truth to that they maybe trust the play calling with Shough a little more.
Yeah, and
they play worse teams. That's part of it too. They've flat out played a much tougher schedule in the first half of the season.
All right, we got about 2 or 3 minutes till we get to our predictions. So if you want to make your Saints Titans prediction, now is the time. We will show it here on the air as we give ours. Quo Vada says, Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to you, Quo. Looking forward to seeing the Saints surprise everyone next season. The national media seems to be snoozing on the development of Saints and Shough. I don't know if I think they've kind of come around the last couple of weeks, and they've been a little bit more fired up about, and fired up isn't the right word, right words to use, but I think they've been a little bit more open that Shough could be that guy across the national board.
Yeah. He's the amount of publicity he's gotten in the last month is kind of crazy compared to what he was getting even the last 2 weeks, I'd say, right? Like it felt like even after the Tampa Bay game, people were sort of sleepwalking on him. That was the first time he started to get noticed. But, you look at Rookie of the Year odds, like those didn't go down until after the Carolina game. Like even after the Tampa Bay game, I think you could still get the guy at 225 to 1 to win the Rookie of the Year.
What do you have it at? 60 something to 1?
I have 250 to 1. And I actually took it back when I think after the first Carolina game. And so you could still get it for quite some time after that. At that price. It wasn't until after the second Carolina game that it really shot down.
You laugh at me for some of my bets, and that might end up paying off. Jimmy Rosen says, is Tyler really in the running for Rookie of the Year? Absolutely. It's plus 400 if you missed it early, which means 4-1. Tom says he recalls the 79 Saints 8-8 finish, and there was a lot of hope. I remembered it as well. Then the 1980 season came, 1-15, by the way. Learned not to get his hopes up at an early age. Look, that's a rare thing. I think there's no question that this team is on the move up. I think everyone would be. Whereas last year at this time, I don't think anyone was super confident about where this team was going. The feeling, just overall feeling from last year this time to now, I think is completely different.
Yeah, how could it not be? Like last year, you didn't know any of the answers for this franchise. We didn't know who the head coach would be. We didn't know who. Well, I mean, I guess at that point you still assumed Derek Carr was going to be the quarterback going forward, but you didn't know for how long that was going to be the case. And so, yeah, this is like a whole new chapter in this franchise, and I think it's a positive one. Even though they started out the year 2-10, even though they still seem like they're a full step behind the Super Bowl contenders in the NFL, maybe two full steps behind. You can see where they're headed, and that is a much better feeling.
We're going to talk about last thing we talk about before we make our predictions is I'm going to ask you, so be ready. You don't have to answer this yet, but we're going to talk about some of the numbers between the rookie quarterbacks, and I'm going to ask you, do you think Shough award? I think it's a 2-man race between who's the best quarterback from this class so far. Now that obviously could change. Plenty of time left. You could theoretically, I guess, make an argument for Jackson Dart. His numbers
I think it's a 3-man race. I don't think there's any question.
I don't think if you look at some of the numbers, I put them together, and I guess I should have put this on the screen so you could see them. But here's some of the numbers. Tyler Shough, 9 games, really 8.5, but his completion percent is better than any of the other 4 rookies that have played significant time by far. By the way, it's not really that close. He's at 66.4. Ward's at 60.2. Dart at 62.1. Shough Sanders is at 55.1, which is supposed to be a strong suit, by the way. Dylan Gabriel at 59.5. Yardage wise, if you look at yards per game, these quarterbacks are fairly close. Shough is just shy of 200 at 199.1. Ward is 191.1. Dart at 183.6. Sanders at 183.9. And Dylan Gabriel is at 151.2. And then you talk about touchdowns to interceptions. Shough's at 7 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. So 7 touchdowns in 5 games, not great, but that's kind of the NFL's changing a little bit, I think, too. Ward is at 13 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. Dart has the best number here of this group at 13 touchdowns to 5 interceptions. And then Shough Sanders is 6 touchdowns to 8 interceptions, and Dylan Gabriel 7 touchdowns to 2 interceptions. Who do you think is the best rookie quarterback right now? Obviously, it's 1 year. 5 years from now, we might even be talking about someone we're not even talking about right now. But who do you think is the best of these 5?
I think it is. It's still up in the air, obviously. Honestly, I'm still going to throw out a vote for Dart, man. I know you said it's a 2-horse race. I think that is flat wrong. I think Jackson Dart had a terrible game last week. I think he's playing hurt. But if you look at, you mentioned some of those numbers, Dart and Shough are very close in a lot of the passing numbers until you get to touchdowns. Dart has that 13 number. And then rushing, it's not even close. 407 yards, 5.7 yards per carry, 7 rushing touchdowns for Dart. They just haven't won games, which is where he's getting discredited. And if that continues, obviously he won't be in this conversation. But I think he's got the worst supporting cast. I think he's playing hurt, like I said. He's going to have to stay healthy. But if he does, I think he's got a chance to be the best still.
Yeah, he's fumbled 4 times. That's a problem. Actually, 6 times. I take it back. No, 4 times. 4 times. He's fumbled 4 times. Jackson Dart has. His passing number overall, his completion percentage is well behind Shough. It's a little bit tinged better than Ward. I would have Dart third. I think, and the reason why is, you make valid points, but to me, Dart has been way more inconsistent than the other 2. Again, Ward to me has progressively gotten better as the season's gone along. So I thought he had a really rough time in the beginning. He seems to have gotten a little better. And to me, once Shough's come in, he's been the most consistent of the bunch. And if anything, you look at 300 yards last week, or 306 or whatever it was last week, and he's had another number that was up 280 something or whatever. Shough has gotten better as well. I would vote for Shough, but I get why, someone would vote for Ward. Dart, I don't know. And it's neither one of the Cleveland guys for sure. But look, we thought this rookie class was a little weak. And in the grand scheme of things, it still is pretty weak.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's hard to judge based on one season, especially because so many of these guys were put into bad situations. In fact, I said Dart had the worst supporting cast, but it's pretty close, right? Between Saints, Titans, and Giants, like all of them look pretty dreary situations for rookies to come in. So I'd give it some time, but as of right now, it doesn't look great.
Yeah, maybe Dart runs a little bit better than the other ones, and what UBN said in, I showed this once, but I'm gonna show it again because Dart's going to get himself, if he keeps playing like he's playing. And one thing that I was worried about with Shough, and maybe Shough learned from the injuries that he took in college. And I think that's one thing that maybe has helped him so far. Again, it's only 9 games. Let's not get too fired up yet. But I mean, the way Dart's playing, he can't keep playing like that as a quarterback. I agree he's going to get himself killed if he doesn't stop playing the way he's been playing. So anyway.
And that's the whole thing with Dart is like, he's got to stay healthy. If he doesn't stay healthy, then none of that other stuff matters.
All right, I'm going to go through some of these other predictions in just a minute. Apathy says, by the way, Shough had 300-plus yards, and Kelvin Banks got belt to his butt whooped by that edge on the Jets. Did he, though? I mean, did he get that?
Accurate.
I don't know that I agree that Kelvin Banks does.
I think Kelvin Banks has had a solid season.
I think both the tackles have been good, not great. And the guards have been absolutely horrendous for this team. That's just, we'll see. All right, getting into the predictions here. We're going to start with Zach. Who is it that says every time that Zach picks the Saints to lose, they win? We're going to find out if that theory is true because Zach thinks the Titans are going to win 26-23.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not. There's 2 parts to this. First off is that I think the Saints are playing much better, but they are something of a product of a weaker schedule, and that this is actually the toughest game they've played maybe since Atlanta. I think the Titans are playing much better, and I think they fit more into that category than they do. Certainly
Titans better than the Bucks or Panthers.
And the way the Bucks are playing right now, yeah. I mean, it's also a road game, so that's part of it too. We'll see what happens. But the other part of this is that I think that Tyler Shough is being asked to do an awful lot. And that's one of the most impressive things about what he has done. But he is being asked to basically carry this offense. And I think at some point that's going to cost you. I don't know if that's this week or not. I think we could see this develop into a little bit of a shootout. Although, have you seen the weather at all, Jim?
The last I looked, and it's been a couple of days, but it looked like it was going to be actually pretty good. Let's see, weather in Nashville.
I think at game time, the weather's like in the 70s. Okay.
Yeah, it says AM clouds, PM sun. Yeah, high 76, low 35. It's supposed to be semi-windy, but it looks like it's not going to rain into the evening. It's not going to affect anything, I don't think, until nighttime.
Maybe not. But the high 75, the low 35 is the number I'm looking at, where when that happens, usually that comes with a lot of wind blowing in a cold front. Mm-hmm. And so I don't know when that's going to start. Like, we're too early for an hourly forecast, but I think it'll be very nice at the start of the game. I think by the fourth quarter, you could see some winds starting to come in and some cold temperatures. So maybe that affects it. But I also think otherwise we could get a shootout here. So it's we'll see what happens. I think both young quarterbacks are playing well, but ultimately there's just a little bit too much air in the Saints balloon right now for me. And I think maybe it gets deflated a bit.
Well, at least this game, if anything else, this game is at least more interesting than it was going to be even 6 or 8 weeks ago. I mean, when you were looking ahead to games and you're like, oh God. And I mean, I know a lot of people still are, but at least there's a story here, Ward versus Shough. And I think that makes this game at least interesting. All right, some of the Dat family, your predicted scores. We got Tom saying Saints 27, Titans 13. What else as we go along here? That was a while ago, so I got to catch up. Alvin Garcia says 21-13 Saints. Charles says 20-17 Saints. Quo says Saints 24, Titans 13. Brian says Saints 31-28. Calling for the shootout like you did. Jimmy Rosen says Saints 17-14. UBN says Titans 27, Saints 17. Is that the last one? I'm trying. Nope. We got Randall saying Titans 20-17, and Kyle Sherman says 24-16 Saints. Earl's pick says 21-19 Saints. And look, I hate that I'm with the crowd here. I don't usually do that. I'm not betting on it. I wouldn't touch this game with a stick because this just seems like this is a game that if I were on the outside looking in, it would probably be a game where I would take the Titans in the points. But I can't pick against the Saints right now. They're just playing. They're playing too well. So it would be an aberration to me if they didn't win this game. I get what you're saying about where the Titans have been, but I just think that I think the Saints defense has been playing well enough to kind of hold Ward down. The Titans have a better running game than the Saints do. That's true. But overall, I'm gonna say Shough keeps his thing up here. He's looking forward to this matchup. He's looking forward to being hyped because it's the first time maybe that he's really hyped. And when I say hyped, I put that in quotation marks. 27-19 Saints. By the way, Tom with his super sticker. Thank you so much. Happy holidays to you. Ryan says, we really appreciate it, Tom. Thank you for being a regular here with the Dattitude family. Ryan Shea says Saints 27-23. Mark Gapsky says Saints 34, Titans 17. I think what I think is really interesting, Zach, is just 6 weeks ago, no one was picked except for the ultimate optimists who weren't ready to just jump off and jump, to the abyss of the Atlantic Ocean or whatever. They're all back. They're all picking the Saints now.
That's how it goes, right? We got eternal pessimists when the team is giving them a reason, and we got eternal optimists when the team is giving them a reason for that. So, that's just the way it goes. But this is the NFL, man. Weird things happen. I'll end on this interesting stat because I looked for our Saints insider this morning. I thought, okay, Saints have a chance to win 4 in a row. That's pretty good. Like the Saints don't win 4 in a row. It's hard to win 4 in a row in the NFL, right? So how often does that happen? Did you know that 17 NFL teams actually have 4-game winning streaks this year? And the Saints,
that doesn't surprise me.
To be 18, and the Pittsburgh Steelers, if they win, would be 19 because they're on a 3-game winning streak right now too. So you're looking at like almost 2/3 of the league has done that. Kind of crazy. 17
surprises me, but it wouldn't have surprised me if you said like 14 or 15, I guess. So, yeah. But the Saints haven't done it since 2020, so that's also saying something.
Now only 9 teams have a 5-game winning streak, so that's a lot more difficult.
Yeah, that's a big jump, and Saints can finish on a 5-game winning streak. Got to win here. Lance says momentum is real. Tennessee is a weak team. Rookie quarterback against Staley. We got a kicker. Zach still hung over from Christmas. The Saints win. Was he at your house? Saints win 28-14.
No, man. I got a bottle of Makers and I finished half of it off.
Brian says Saints Titans win 22-16.
Oh, we got one. Okay.
All right. There were a couple. UBN doesn't count. Randall's still, I think, rooting for tank mode, so he doesn't really count either. Earl honestly just wants the Saints to end with a win against the Falcons.
Talk about the schedule before you want that. You got to be careful there. Mm-hmm. Next year's schedule. All
right. Final thoughts. What'd you get did you get anything good for Christmas?
Besides the bottle of whiskey, you mean?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's good.
No, I got this thing that does like electro pulsing on your vagal nerve that's supposed to help you sleep better. I actually started using it last week. I got it kind of early, and it seems to be working. So
really? Oh, you're gonna have to send me a link to what that is.
I mean, it's not cheap, but it was. It seems to actually be working. So,
all right,
that would be a positive.
Your what nerve? I'm from the West Bank. We don't use words like vagal nerve.
I mean, okay. It helps you sleep. That's all you need to know, West Bank.
Okay. I mean, yeah, but I can look. If I look on Amazon for things that help me sleep, I mean, is that going to even come up? Vagal. You're going to send me a
like Nick said. I got 2 things that help me sleep. I got the whiskey and I got the pulse stimulator. So
maybe you're sleeping better because you got the whiskey.
No. That could be. Although I actually tend to sleep worse when I drink, so maybe not.
Is it Kegel nerve? Is that what that is?
Vagal nerve, VAGAL. No, not Kegel. Come on, Earl. The Kegel nerve is something that's
what you
that's
drink.
for something else.
That's what you drink from.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Happy New Year, sir. We will be watching, and we will see you next Friday for our final Saints prediction day. I don't think it's our final Friday unless you just want it to be, but it's our final Saints look ahead and prediction day, and we will see you next week.
All right, man. Have a good one.
You too. Happy New Year. Zach Ewing, everybody. We're going to go back to this slide real quick before we go to the Pick'em crew. Earl's picks. Thank you, man. $5. Appreciate it so much. Earl, thank you for being a part of the Dat family. Jameson is his way. I got a bottle of bourbon that I hope he's not watching. I don't want to hurt anybody's feeling. I just haven't been drinking hardly at all. You'd think that I would have, considering I went independent on October 31st, that I would have been drinking. I got a bottle of bourbon that a good friend of mine gave me that's been it's probably not a good place for it either. At least it's not open. It's been sitting in my truck since early September. I think about it. It's early September. Maybe I'll break that out this weekend. I could use a good drink. I don't know. Anyway. You know what else some of us could use? I mean, I could use a good drink. Some of y'all might be able to use Evangeline Securities. They can help you figure out what your family-run or privately held business might be worth and whether it's time to sell. How do they do it? Forget every question that we've asked so far today. That is the best question of the day. After your complimentary valuation of your company, if you decide to proceed, Native New Orleanian Nick Braden and the folks at Evangeline will begin an extensive auction process from among established private equity funds from around the whole wide world. And by the way, Santa just gave him a report. He just finished going around the whole wide world. And he says, yes, indeed. There's a lot of private equity funds out there. And Nick Braden is finding them. They will maximize the return for the founder and his or her family. Evangeline Securities is the top producer on their platform. Very few companies like them in this area, and 0.0 with their dedication and success. They are fully licensed. They're ready to serve you. So get in touch with Nick about what's really important. Come on, man. If you don't know what's really important by now, I don't know how to help you. You want to start out with the new year with something that's really important? What is it? It's the rest of your life. You can find them at www.evangelinesecurities.com. Charles says Bullet is his go-to bourbon. Lance says all he wants for the day after Christmas is the UBN song. You ask, I wish you Merry Christmas.
Uncle Big Nick, can we make some picks today? Well, can we please?
Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. How was that? Did
That
I
would have
just
been
get
a great segue. Speaking of drinking, here comes the Pick'em crew of needing a drink.
Yeah, give me some bourbon. We got to watch the Pick'em crew. We can't go anywhere yet. By the way, don't you dare click off of this show yet. I see a couple of y'all click. We're 74-60 against the spread, gosh darn it. You want to keep you want to be able to pay for those presents? With the damn credit card bill. You watch the Pick'em crew. Maybe not last week's picks, but overall throughout the season, you've been paying for some bills with our pick. We are 74-60 against the spread. And you got your wish, UBN. You are not black and gold. You are ice cold blue this week. Congratulations.
I don't know. Last time I was black and gold. The next week I went 3-0. So
yeah, well, I don't know. Gabe's been on fire. He's 5-1 the last 2 weeks, and last week 18.5. He was in last place. What, 2 weeks ago? Shows you how things can.
3 weeks ago, it was
3 weeks ago.
You were ahead by like 4.
And I was in first, and now he's in first, and I'm in last. Goes to show you how fast things can change here in the Pick'em game. Gabe now 24-21. He has the worst record, by the way, but he has the best point differential. 24-21. I'm 24-20.
He wins, he blows teams out. That's what he does.
Exactly. So we're gonna see what he blows this week. Oh wait, Did I say that on the air?
Yeah, you did.
Shit. Sorry.
We got to talk about. I mean, halfway through the season, I was sitting at like minus 85.
Yeah, I thought he'd go minus 100.
Yeah.
He wound up coming back.
You got to be really good if you're doing that. Earl's pick says Texans are on fire too, and Apathy says we're gonna all be drinking when the Texas Bowl comes on. Maybe
I'll be sleeping. That's at 8 p.m.
Charles Mangus says if the Saints go 7-10, he's sending me a bottle of Jameson. Wow, go Saints!
Why, so he
go.
can keep it in his trunk? Come on, Charles.
I'll drink it. I don't know. In the off, I haven't had time to drink. Maybe I'll drink in the off season. I used to drink a lot. Anyway, maybe that's why I don't drink a lot now. I don't know. My liver says stop it. All right, we're gonna roll into this week's pick'em, and I'm gonna tell y'all ahead of time. We have a like pick, and we have an almost like pick. It's very
My picks look a lot like Gabe's this week.
diddly
I
poo.
haven't even seen Gabe's.
How do you know? How do you know?
Because I just know the teams I picked.
Okay. Well, let's start with Gabe. He's the one on fire. And Gabe's starting off with he cares about the Texas Bowl. He's picking Houston minus 2.5 over the LSU Fighting Tigers. Oh, by the way, there are actually I take it back. There are 2 like picks this week. 2. We've never had 2 in the same week. We got 2 this week.
Probably because I got my Steelers pick to come down to the necessary price.
No, that ain't it.
Maybe.
Go ahead.
Okay.
I'm thinking the first week of the playoffs, all 3 of us are going to have the same. I'm predicting that right now. All 3 of us will have the same pick the first week of the playoffs.
Playoffs.
I don't know.
NFL playoffs.
All right, go ahead with the Houston. Your reasoning for Houston minus 2.5 over the Fighting Tigers of LSU.
I just think this one should have stayed closer to 3.5 where it was. I think a lot of uneducated public bettors are probably seeing LSU getting points here and saying, well, is Houston really that good? No, Houston's not all that great, but LSU, this is not the same team that played against Oklahoma that, left it all out on the field. This is a defense that's going to be missing its 4 best players, an offense that is totally decimated. We have no idea what's next for some of these guys. There's so much uncertainty around LSU, and at the end of the day, I think Willie Fritz is a much better coach than Frank Wilson, and that's what it comes down to for me. I think Houston's going to win this game.
Charles says he's going to be like George Burns, a cigar and a drink of bourbon a day, and live to 91. By the way, George Burns lived to be 100.
Yeah, it was 102, I think.
No, it was 100. I just looked it up. It was 100, almost 100 years and 2 months old. My grandfather drank a glass of red wine almost every day of his life. I don't know if he did it when he was like 1, they put it in his bottle or whatever, but I know as long as I was alive, he drank a glass of red wine almost every day and lived to be 93. So there you go. Mark Gaffney,
y'all want to live to 100? I don't want to live. I don't think I want to live 55 more years and see what this world will be.
Can you ask me when I'm closer to 100?
I'm 27.
I want to live to at least 58 right now. So Mark Gatsky says his pick of the week is Patriots minus 13.5. Who are they playing?
The Jets.
I don't remember.
Jets.
Yeah.
I have a problem laying 13.5.
In a divisional game, too.
Yeah, in a divisional game. We have a divisional game coming up, but not yet. We're going to talk about Packers minus 4.5 over the semi-fighting Ravens.
Semi-fighting is optimal term. I think that team is a dead man walking.
Done.
Lamar is injured. They're just put themselves in too much of a hole. Not to mention they're the worst against the spread team in the NFL this season. In the Packers, this is a must-win for them. They need to stay in the playoff picture. I think the Packers roll.
Who's cute? Who's QB for the Packers?
You said hole. You said hole. Oh, sorry.
He has no idea what that is, Jim.
Yeah, he probably doesn't know what that is.
Beavis and Butthead, no?
Yeah, I see that right now.
Yeah. I'm educated, guys. Come on.
TP from my bunghole. Does that make you less educated to know what that is? I don't know if that makes you educated.
I understand cultural references. Put it that way.
There we go.
All right. And we're going to finish it up here. The man on fire says he likes the Steelers on the road at Cleveland, giving 3 to the Browns.
I've talked a lot of shit about the Steelers the last few weeks, but at the end of the day, this is a game against the Cleveland Browns that would give Mike Tomlin the luxury of sitting Aaron Rodgers in the final week of the season. He's going to take that every day of the week and quite literally twice on Sunday. I like the Steelers to roll here.
Was that in the group chat that made Myles Garrett?
Where I sent the
yeah. If Rodgers sits, he could get the sack record against Mason Rudolph.
Yeah, potentially, but I don't think he will sit. We'll see.
I don't know if he's gonna play the whole game or not. We'll see.
Did y'all see Rodgers on the Lions game when he was mic'd up? He went to help one of the linemen up when he ran up.
Oh yeah, he says,
You don't want me to help you up because I outran you at 42 years old.
At 42, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to listen to him. Just listen to his voice makes me cringe.
I love listening to Phillip Rivers talk smack though.
Oh, he's funny.
Where he doesn't cuss.
Let's freaking go.
Does he really say that? Let's freaking go.
Yeah, he doesn't cuss.
Darn it. Gosh, darn it.
He's got 10 kids. He doesn't want them to cuss. All right, moving on. UBN. He's got the same damn pick. Houston -2.5. Man, I'm really glad I didn't do this now. Boy, that would have been the kiss of death. Houston -2.5 versus LSU. Our first pick of the afternoon. That means we got another one coming up. What do you like about the Cougs over the Tigers?
I just think Houston's going to play harder. Like Frank Wilson, is he coaching hard? Or is he looking at Ole Miss? I know the players, they're going to try and play, but it's just going to be Houston's seeing the name on the helmet and not seeing the players in the jerseys. Houston wants to win this game way more than LSU wants to win this game. I mean, Houston saying they beat LSU 5 years from now, nobody's going to ask, well, who played for LSU in that game? It's just a big staple and big thing in the hat feather in the hat for whatever you want to say for Houston beating LSU, I think.
Tom says the Steelers favored by 3 over the Browns. Must mean Rodgers is sitting this one out. No, I think that's about the right line.
It's on the road.
Yeah. So that means that Pittsburgh would be favored by about 7 at home, and I think that's maybe a 7
on the road. And Cleveland's got a great defense.
That's about right. So I think if Rodgers was sitting out, if they came out and said, I think it'd be closer to even. Pick them. We'll see. Look, obviously, I agree with you guys on the Houston. I've kind of backed off of it, and I explained if you didn't see when we're talking about and made our picks. I backed off of it a little bit because first of all, I think it's gonna be a low-scoring game. So that doesn't give me a lot of wiggle room. That doesn't give me the point differential maybe that I'm looking for. I don't think LSU is gonna get blown out. I do think that LSU is gonna lose. I do think that Houston's gonna cover. So I like both of your picks, but I just think it's gonna be a low-scoring game. And the fact that this line has actually crept towards LSU, I don't necessarily think it's Joe Blow making these picks. I think it's a little mix of both. So, again, the fact that it hasn't moved. I thought it'd be 5 or 6 when I first saw 3. I'm like, oh, this will be 5 or 6, and then I'll definitely take it. No, so I just kind of.
I still think a lot of the books and all that stuff, even the Vegas is saying, "Oh, this is LSU. We can't give them that many." Yeah,
maybe. All right, moving on. You're going back to the NFL, and you got the Gabe's fighting Houston Texans plus 1.5, basically an even game against the Los Angeles Chargers.
The Chargers look good against Dallas, but the Chargers give up the most sacks in the league. Everybody, me and you would look good playing against Dallas' defense. This ain't Dallas's defense. I think Herbert's going to get beat around in this game. He's got that broken hand. I could see him maybe not even finishing this game. I think they're going to be all over Herbert, and I just think the Titans are looking good. The Texans are looking good at the right time. The offense is kind of starting to come around and getting healthy. Is Woody Marks playing? Gabe, do you know?
I'm pretty sure he will. Yeah.
Yeah,
he probably
he plays. I really like
last week if it was an important game.
Yeah, I think what the Raiders did to the Houston was an aberration, and I think they're going to be fired up to play on defense and show that they're really the best defense, and that was just an off game. So I just think this is going to be a blowout.
I actually almost had the other way as one of my best bets, and then I backed off of it because one of the things you just said is about the Texans playing so bad on defense last week. They can't wait to get that taste out of their mouth. And the Chargers maybe have been overperforming. They've won 4 in a row. And so that kind of backed me off of making it a best bet. I still like the Chargers here, but I don't love it. And I'm not going to run into the window to bet it. So we'll see. I get where you're coming from, but I just think the Chargers have been a better team. And they're actually one of those teams that went, and if Herbert's hand isn't that big of a deal into the playoffs, We'll see, but I actually think this will be a team to watch when we get into the playoffs.
Didn't Herbert have like 4 interceptions against Houston last year in the playoffs? What a hand.
We'll see. I just
he was healthy and they tore him to shreds.
Yeah.
The only reason I'm staying away from this game is because of that game. I think Jim Harbaugh might have him ready to play this game, but
I don't think it matters. I don't think
it matters either.
They had offensive line ready to play.
Well, here's the thing a lot of people don't know. Someone who's watched the Texans every snap over the whole season, really. Their pass rush has been relatively non-existent since the Buffalo game. They've really struggled. That could be because of injuries. Azeez Al-Shaair didn't play last week. EJ Speed didn't play the week before. So we'll see. Their secondary's been exposed at times because they've had so many injuries at safety next to Kalen Bullock. We'll see. I'm staying away from this one. I don't really know what to expect, but I expect both teams to come out and play hard.
Lance says Texans best defensive team in the league. Offense opportunistic against poor opponents. It'll bite them in the playoffs with defense so good to be a deep run. I don't know. You give up 21 to the Raiders and you gave up 20 the week to the Cardinals before that. Maybe there's a crack in the I don't know.
They also scored 40 on the Cardinals, so they didn't really care. And then the Raiders. Do you know what the Raiders did week 1, Jim?
They beat the Patriots.
So what? The Raiders are the worst team in football.
Well, everyone's and also a few weeks ago they took the Jags to overtime. So everyone's looking at the Raiders as some. They struggle. The Broncos struggled with them twice too.
Just,
so I mean, why?
When the Raiders are bad,
yeah, but they're scrappy. They're a scrappy team. I don't take anything away from that game.
If I had to rank teams from 1 to 32, I have zero question that the Raiders. The first thing I would fill in is Raiders 32. There's no question that's what I would do. So anyway, I stayed away from it in the grand scheme of things because I just don't necessarily know what Houston is right now. So maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Houston will start.
LA is either.
I know we disagree, but I actually think the Chargers are a pretty decent team. Anybody can win the AFC.
Yeah, the AFC you could pick a card. I feel like.
I think 7 teams that get in, you can pick any of the 7.
Before we move on,
yeah.
Do you guys know how many playoff wins Justin Herbert has in his career?
Playoffs?
Is
0. No, I don't think he has any.
He has 0.
Yeah, he's got 0. He should have beat the Jags, but gave it away. I mean, you know what? When the Saints played the Rams in the playoffs in 1999, and they had been in existence for 21 years and 22 years and never had a playoff win, people were saying, you know how many playoff wins the Saints have? 0. And then they beat the Rams. So, exactly. So anyway, last pick here, Bucks -6 over the hapless Coach Gucci's.
Yeah, I just think this is a get right spike for Tampa. Like I think this is almost like a tune-up for next week to try and win a division. I just think they're going to come out and fire on all cylinders. Miami's done. What are they playing for? Like it's just, I think Tampa can't take this game lightly. They got to win, and I just see them going in there and just blowing this team out and just getting everything tuned up for next week, basically.
I will say this: I'm not betting on this game, but if you are going to bet it, there's only one way to bet it. You cannot bet on Miami, or you can do whatever you want, but yeah, I think
my only worry with this pick is UBN a week late on fading Miami. I just don't know because last week was the most obvious spot to bet against them.
Yeah, and I think
I don't know
if the Bucks have anything. If the Bucks are not as bad as they've looked the past few weeks, maybe they are, but they're gonna. I think that Baker has just been kind of like enough of this crap. They have got to win this. They finally 100% have to win this game, and so I think they come out with all the motivation in the world, while the other team has 0 motivation.
I would tell you this: if they'd have beat Carolina last week, I would have stayed away from this game.
Yeah.
But the fact that they lost, I just think they're gonna blow them out.
Miami doesn't care.
No, they don't.
Little
the
bit.
coach don't even care. Like,
Achane still looks good though.
See, dead man walking.
He's the only one that cares.
All right, let's move on and let's see if I can
He
turn
looks
things
like a dead
around.
man walking. What do you weigh? He's $110.
I don't know. All right. Here we go. Here's the next pick. Packers -4.5 over the Ravens. I'm with Gabe on this one. It is trending towards Jordan Love playing and Lamar Jackson not playing. Meanwhile, idiotic Ravens apparently are the Ravens fans, they're starting to grow restless with John Harbaugh. I'm glad to see that dumbass fans are everywhere. They're not
they're going restless with Lamar.
I mean, it's just insane how stupid fans are. It's a do or die game for Baltimore, but I got to be honest. I think inside that locker room, they've already died. Meanwhile, the Packers division, what little division title hopes they have, that's getting close to done, but not quite. They can only remain alive with a win, and then they'll be rooting for the Niners on Sunday night. I think the Packers have one of their best games, especially after. Look, to me, good teams bounce back from the kind of losses they took last week, and I think it's a big bounce back week, especially if Jordan Love's going to play. I love the Packers here, and Gabe, we talked about point differential. I think this is a game that if the Ravens could be blown out in this one. I mean, I really think they could. Yeah, they just could not show up at all,
especially if they get down early.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So anyway, we agree there. In the thinking of where Gabe was going with Steelers Browns, I'm not sure if Rodgers plays. I don't know how much he's going to play. Does he want to get just chased after by Myles Garrett all day long when they don't need him to win? I mean, if the Ravens do lose to the Packers, that's over. The AFC North belongs to the Steelers. It's official. Not that it's not going to be official
Saturday,
anyway.
So that's going to
exactly. So he could take a seat early. I think he'll play a little bit. There's also the forecast in Cleveland: rain and wind, temperatures in the low 50s, just kind of nasty, ugly, dreary. And by the way, the under in the games with unders this low, 34.5 or lower, over. Now they've hit twice in a row this year. However, before the last two that went over, I think it was 9 in a row. When the under was this low, they actually went under. So I just think this is an ugly game. I don't think anyone gives a damn. I think Shador is going to look like crap. I think the Steelers are going to look like we just want to get out of here and take the dub and move on. Maybe the Steelers win 10-7, 12-7, 12-6, something along those lines. Ugly, nasty. Give me the Steelers Browns under 34.5. And then you want to talk about what is the opposite of a square? Is it a circle? There might not be a more circular pick that I've ever made than this one, because everybody and their mom is on the Seahawks in this pick. Some bettors like to be.
I love this pick.
I almost made this pick as well.
Me too. This is my fourth one.
Some bettors like to be conservative when they're struggling. Not me. No, I want to live on the edge. Again, what I said, I think the Panthers have done great when they've expected to suck. And they've sucked when they've expected to win. And Sam Darnold has nightmares. He has nightmares wearing that Panthers uniform. So, and it's about time, by the way, for Sam Darnold to turn back into Sam Darnold, I think. Anyway, so give me Panthers plus
is
7.
this game it's got to be in Seattle?
It's in Carolina.
No, it's in Carolina.
Oh my God!
It's in Charlotte.
And they're going across 3 time zones.
Yeah. Not only that, the Panthers are really good at home for the most part.
Yeah.
Lance is saying Shador deserves a gold jacket all the way already, by the way. He's joking. He says
to be an usher at games.
Anyway, so I just this is the anti-square pick because everybody's gonna be betting on Seattle here, and I actually may bet it because I think big money actually may come in on Carolina late and may turn this into a 6.5. So I might jump on this later today.
Yeah, I really like this.
So do I.
All right, boys and girls. Earl's pick says Jackson Smith and the Jigba 2 touchdowns this week. Let's go.
He can score 2 touchdowns and lose.
I mean, it could happen. Could happen. Anything else you got, boys and girls, before we depart on this day after Christmas? You ready for those lights to come down, UBN?
Yeah. Christmas. I mean, 364 days to Christmas. You got your lights up already. This is ridiculous.
Hey, you're like my wife. I mean, if it were up to my wife, Christmas night, we'd take the tree down. I mean, how much bah humbug can you freaking get?
Is it me or is the Grinch becoming more popular than Santa Claus?
Oh, the Grinch definitely more popular. Why? That's you?
No, I'm just asking. Like, that's why you see his Grinch stuff everywhere now.
Yeah.
Like, everybody's wearing Grinch outfits.
You're going to enjoy the daddies. Well, we got a special clip.
I haven't got my vote card yet.
Well, you can just send it in. You don't need a card.
I mean, I don't know what I'm voting for. I don't even know what the awards are.
Well, make up one. Make up a category and send it in. We're open. I'm still editing it, so you can send it in. But I don't know. What am I going to call the? I'm going to give a spoiler alert. What am I going to call the only time that I ever used the F word on this podcast in 4 years? What should be the name for that?
The Filth Award.
Filth Fawn, yeah, the daddy for the Filth Fawn.
The Philip Rivers Award.
The triple F. The Filth Fawn Phil. The Philip River. The anti-Philip.
The anti-Philip Rivers Award.
Earl's Pick said you should be the leader of the daddies.
Yeah, I should be.
Tom
I should definitely have a vote for Dumbass of the Week.
Tom says leave the lights up until Easter. It's what good neighbors do. I have permanent lighting, so my lights actually will definitely be up on Easter, and they'll be on. We got permanent lighting up there.
Appreciate that.
I could never live somewhere that they can piss off. You can't tell me what to put on my house. A-hole. All right. Anyway. Earl, Lance wants to know if he can nominate. Absolutely. Jim at jimderry.com. Feel free to nominate. If you got a moment you want to nominate, feel free. Go ahead, nominate. What would you got an idea, UBN?
No, I'm gonna think about it.
We'll find the dumbass of the dumbass of the year is definitely. I'm still looking. I've not found who the dumbass of the year was.
Our group chat, like the older I get, the more things bother me. So y'all taking the repercussions of that.
Yeah. Get off my lawn guy award.
I'm getting there. Like I'm getting there. Bad. It's bad.
Yeah, you are. That is bad. All right. Well, I'll see you Sunday night for Bears.
Maybe Jim's run it off on me.
Bears Niners, and I can't believe you're actually going to go somewhere and sit in a bar and watch a game that starts at 7:15 at night, and then drive home.
I was actually up to 11:30 last night.
That's crazy.
It's been bad.
You better get back to the gym.
Brains.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll see you Sunday night, and Gabe, I'm sure we'll be chatting soon. Have a great weekend, boys and girls.
Me too.
Happy New Year. See y'all.
Happy New Year. All right. The Pick'em crew, boys and girls. All right. We're about to go off and call this day a day. It's the last Friday show of the year, the last Pick'em show of the year. We hope we made you. We hope we're going to make you some money. Hope y'all like our picks. You know, I usually look, I do well with my anti-square picks, and I got it too far away. The anti-square picks. I had to get back there. Again, I want to thank everybody that has been let me get melancholy of this holiday season real quick. If all you regulars that are still here, still watching the show this morning or this afternoon now, thank you so much, because I know that's probably where we are about this time, where it's just the regulars. We love you so much. We thank you for being a part of the pod, and it's only going to get better going forward. I am so excited about 2026. Not just saying that. It's not lip service. 100% excited about what we're going to do here in 2026. And we end 2025 with the daddies next Wednesday. You looking forward to that? First, we got Mono E Monday coming up on Monday morning. Will Tyler Shough do what he's been doing? We'll probably touch on LSU just a little bit. It's going to be pretty much 85% of Saints show. And then going forward, who knows? Who knows what we're going to have going forward. We're going to have to start the transition. Start talking about the draft soon. Tatters, thank you so much. The $10 super sticker. Again, not just, look, thank you so much for the donations. But I am so excited about the Dattitude family growing. All you regulars still around. Mark, this is a great idea. Can we do a Dattitude draft party in NOLA? Maybe we can. Maybe we have our live draft show somewhere, and maybe we, because we're going to start a membership thing soon. Maybe that's a good idea for members, Gabe. We're going to have a draft party for members, and we're going to have members come up on stage with us if we have it somewhere. That's a thought. Maybe, possibly. We'll see what 2026 brings. Anyway, thanks to everyone for being a part of the show, whether you just sat back and watched the whole thing, or whether you've been typing in comments, whether you donated or whether you didn't donate. We thank you so much. We love you all. And thanks to our sponsors again, Evangeline Securities and Joe DiStefano Insurance. Can't wait to see. If you want to be a sponsor of the show, reach out to me, Jim at jimderry.com. We're going to have more sponsors in 2026. Looking forward to it. That will wrap it up for us on this Friday, the day after Christmas. Of course, I want to thank my guests, Zach Ewing, Gabe Henderson, and Uncle Big Nick Martz. We hope you can join us next Monday for Mono Monday. After, this penultimate Saints game, are they going to beat the Titans like they're supposed to? Favored again? The Saints are favored again? Are they going to win their fourth in a row? I know most of you think so. A reminder to subscribe to the Dattitude YouTube page if you haven't already done so. Click the little bell to receive notifications when we go on the air live. Give us a thumbs up. Give us a like. If you just want to listen, you can do it wherever you get your podcasts. All major podcast platforms, including Apple, Spotify, and many more, including Amazon. It's on Amazon. I just found that out. Have a fantastic, wonderful holiday weekend. I didn't get any eggnog. Maybe I'll get some. Whatever. Try not to get too crazy. We'll see y'all on Monday. Have a glorious weekend. And take it easy, my friends.